Hi everyone, welcome back to Cardvoyant. I'm Kris and I'm your Cardvoyant again today. As I mentioned, I really wanted to do this today, so here I am back with this other information. As I said, the reason that I really wanted to get this out quickly is because it just has kind of a weird alignment with what Kim talked about in her last video. And since that was just a few days ago, I thought, I really would like to keep this timely and related. Now, if you don't know, if you are new here, I channel a group of guides collectively known as Jacob. Through many sessions over a couple of years, I channeled this book. It's called Earth Energy, What It Is and How to Use It, by me, but really by Jacob's guides. And there are introductions to things by me and experiences I've had, that kind of thing. So that is very much the direction that I want to move in, just talking about and bringing out more sessions, even as I mentioned, maybe live sessions for you to ask questions of these guides. These guides are master guides. And as I was in meditation a few days ago and speaking to them and kind of trying to connect to my guides, so we have many guides. I feel like I have a counselor guide. That's our main guide. That's kind of the label that I give our main guide. And, spirits around us, souls around us who also help and love us and support us. But when I was thinking about that and connecting to my Jacob guides, I heard very clearly master guides. And this isn't an ego thing, we have to be called master guides. It's a designation to help explain who they are, kind of where they are, and what they do. And this is what they do. They teach, not only here and through me, but in the non-physical realm. And I'm very happy and thankful and a little bit, maybe quite a bit humbled that I've been able to do this and to build this kind of communication with them. So the Earth Energy book, yes, it talks about places, natural places, water and forests and trees and caves and sound and wind and a lot of things like that. Of course, it's called Earth Energy. It talks about the nature of Earth Energy. It talks about the world we live in. But there's a lot of really personal information in there. These are universal kind of, what are we doing here information. But a lot of it can be quite personal. And I feel like you might not expect it in a book that's called Earth Energy, right? So I want to read this very small passage, and then just to know that this is kind of this book is finished, but it's an ongoing process. I'm working on a second book with these guides, my Jacob guides, and it's focused on our interaction with the non-physical world and many things that people kind of experience and how we can experience more of that, very positive energy kind of stuff. And in the midst of that, I also just kind of ask questions when things come up for me. So let me read this small passage out of the book. It's very short. I'll put up the words on the screen so you don't have to just look at me reading, but also so you can, it always helps me to see it and not just hear it, visual and auditory. So I will do that, but it's just kind of to give you that understanding and feeling with this book that's available on Amazon, that it's more than just, tree hugging or kumbaya around the fire, holding hands, feeling Earth Energy, which are all great things. There's just much more to it, much more to that. So, and this is from the chapters in here, or the sessions that are sections, are quite short. This one is called Earth Energy, Present Day, and the Constant of Love. And it's, 2.5 pages. But this is the part that I want to read to you that just gives you a little glimpse of some of the other information. And I think it's connected to what I'm going to read after this and talk about after this. The planet and all beingness alive on it and within it and around it reach toward love and surround you and your fellow human beings in a cushion of supportive love. We will teach you, and many of you do indeed already know much, loving strategies to help move your species and thus your souls forward in love and light. The time for stagnation is being asked and in fact pushed to a close, as it must and should be. And there is much more, vast possibility and destiny that must no longer be denied. Thus, it is incumbent upon you to act. We send you our help and love, the most advanced souls among you, as we have told and said to you, now return for a time. And so you see the love of the universe, the all that is, made manifest on your earth and in your groups and families and individual lives. You are being led if you will but listen. Therefore, rise in love and retire in love. Seek always to expand yourselves and your lives in love and light. There is more to come and more to say, and we are here to say much and guide you always toward love, toward light, toward your true soul selves, which is to say, the all that is, which is again, you, all of you. There is no one apart. Carry love with you always, and never fear of giving too much away. For the universe is infinite and still ever expanding, and therefore there is no limited supply of love. It is ever present and everywhere, and ever will be. I felt like that particular passage was important and connected to what I am about to talk about next, about this next and newest passage from Jacob. In fact, I held this session, and I do this in automatic writing. That's how it comes to me. So I write it in longhand, and then I will put it on my computer, type it in my computer, and do the best I can to read my own handwriting as I do that. This was June 16th. And the reason that I asked these questions, that this session came about, is that I had talked to like 2 or 3 people that day who said the same thing, like, what is with the energy right now? Like, everything feels weird. It feels off. It's like, what is going on? I feel like things are happening that I have almost like less control over. Like, I know I'm supposed to create my own life, and I know, that I'm the one moving my life forward, but it feels like being pushed almost now. Like the energy just feels different. So I asked my Jacob guides about this, and it felt this way to me too. It still does. I mean, we're like in the midst of it, and I think this is some of what Kim was talking about, this energy of this moment. And it feels to me like, we've been in this sort of interesting, heavy, chaotic in some ways energy that really is meant to move us forward, and we talk about that all the time, but this felt kind of different. It felt kind of different. And this passage I just read, it talks about the push, right? Indeed being pushed. So I asked about the energy of the moment, and this is what came through. Again, I will try to figure out how to put, I know how, it's just a kind of a process to have you be able to read it on screen, so that you can follow along that way. All right, so again, June 16th, 2026. And this is what my Jacob guides had to say. What you are feeling is the great clearing away. You and all others have brought this on yourselves in ways both intimate and universal. Surely you must understand and know by now that your collective energy and the collective energy of love and light and the desire to move toward these things is the most powerful energy that exists in physical life. Therefore, does your desire alone, once accumulated and once shared, at times demand of the universe a kind of recompense. That is to say, the universal law of karma, which is also the universal truth of like attracts like. And this becomes so undeniable and often so frustrated by lack of outlet that we and all of non-physical existence, which is to say the all that is, or the universe, or God, if that allows you to better understand and conceptualize this loving power, feels the intensity of your desire and your painfully frustrated attempts to move forward in love and light, and is thus compelled, indeed it must act, to clear the stagnation and answer the desires of humanity, all creatures, great and small, all flora, fauna, indeed all within the earth and its physical representation, which is in fact again to say all. For you, God, indeed the universe, is all. Universal love and forward movement toward love is indeed brought about by the collective desire and pleading of humanity, the earth itself, and all within and upon it. Yet it is not in this ferocious state, directed by it. The universe hears, feels, understands all, and sweeps away that and those who are interfering with collective and personal desire, the desire to do good works, the desire to create with pure intention, and the desire to move forward in love and light. Therefore, does familiar energy, especially that energy long accumulated, feel off, as you say, for indeed it is being changed broadly and in sweeping swaths. Much of this is immediate. Many long-standing situations, institutions, and individuals will now fall. Many, indeed, exit, while other strong and determined individuals, institutions, entities, organizations, and governments attempt to strengthen the pillars upon which their castles of sand are built. There is no strength or permanence that will ever stand against the winds of change that are formed and blown about by the power of love, which is to say the power of the all that is, which, as you well know, is made of love, formed by love, and moved by love and all loving things. Therefore, know this unrecognized energy is an answer to your prayers both individual and collective. For even as broad, yes, sweeping changes begin to occur now, so too will similar love-based changes begin to change within states and regions, organizations, some businesses, schools, law enforcement of many kinds, medicine and medical research, banking and finance, truth and truth-telling, as well as individual and group relationships. For this sweeping away is also a bringing forth. bringing forth lost humanity and lost respect, which is to say love, for many natural and loving things. Therefore, allow the change. Trust in yourselves, which is, of course, to say, trust in the universe, and have faith in the power and concern and balance, which is to say, love of the all that is, of which you well know you are a loved, loving, and integral part. Namaste. These sessions often end with namaste, and I think it's a way for them to signal that this is the end of this session, and it's kind of a beautiful way to leave a session. So this last part I feel spoke particularly to me, this kind of allow. And I did after the session, again, the 16th, that's today, the solstice, 21st. I just decided to wait, to allow. That's why I hadn't looked at my YouTube page, my sort of numbers and all that. I didn't know Kim had directed so many people there, because I just was like, okay, I'm taking a break, and I am going to allow the universe to move and speak at some point to me and through me. When Kim contacted me yesterday, and then we compared notes and we talked about these things, and we talk about unearthing, and here, she talks about that quite a bit. And here I love this idea of the great clearing away, while they talk about, it also being a bringing forth. And so I felt, I had been given some answers and direction, and most of those answers and direction are kind of like, be in touch with your soul and bravely do what you want to do. And that doesn't mean you have to save the world. It may mean that you want to, quit your job and become a dog walker. This is something that has spoken to you, and this is what you want to do. I mean, this is your heart, right? And so it's saying, like, allow your faith in doing that to sort of blossom, your trust that it can happen. Allow that to sort of ferment, and pay attention, right? And listen, and strike when the iron's hot, because your guides will help you come to you. And in the meantime, we've had these, people say, for like 100 years, we've grown closer and then we move back. I feel this. I feel it's longer. I feel like it's this thrust to grow closer to the non-physical world, to understand more. I really feel like it was kind of around the Civil War, even pre-Civil War, that kind of time period, when there was really a big push toward this, and we had the opportunity to move forward in these ways that are going to connect us more closely and more intimately with the non-physical world, thus allowing us to learn more and do more, so much, right? And since that time, since this sort of falling back that happened, I feel like, with Reconstruction, that kind of era, we've had all these times, and this is worldwide. I mean, I can speak to a lot of the kind of history of the United States, but it's also global, right? So it happened again with like war after war, World War I, World War II, the sort of hippie movement, right? This sort of love and connection movement. And in between these eras, there's been a lot of eras where there's like a spiritual awakening that had possibilities. But again, we move forward and fall back. Sometimes it's people, it's greed, it's power, it's, the kind of violence that provokes those who feel less than or who feel like they don't have a voice. It's dogma that, particularly religious dogma, that has sometimes stopped us from understanding the universe in a more all-encompassing way, not in a sort of restrictive religious terms that have a lot to do with like society and control and, you know, all of those things. So we've had this resurgence and falling back, resurgence and falling back. And it's happening right now. It has been happening. And we have a lot of people who have sort of dug their heels in like controlling their physical life, being lost in the density of physical life. And they move toward fear. And fear includes things like power grabs and greed and anger and violence and exclusion, right? And dominance in so many forms. And they have a collective energy as well. And it's been this frustrating back and forth because they have so much power now, like within the physical world. And I feel like right now, this very moment, and certainly, you know, June 16th, when I asked about these things, and that feeling of the energy being off, and it's because there is this non-physical world is helping push these things forward. And it's not just, I mean, I guess I should say, because it's big and worldwide and global, this earth energy, this total energy of pushing humanity in this way, of course it affects us individually in our individual lives. And I'm not just talking about how we feel. I mean things in your life that you may have been trying to accomplish but have been frustrated with, or have been blocked, or you've attempted and then you've fallen back, right? It's all the same energy, and it happens on the macro and it happens on the micro. And right now you may be feeling this strongly. You may just kind of generally recognize it and can kind of see what's happening and feel what's happening, but it may be very personal in your lives. And that's why I feel like these messages, like at the end of this reading, when he says, when Jacob says, therefore allow the change, trust in yourself, which is to say, trust in the universe. And allow your this work of moving forward to be helped and sort of pushed forward by universal energy, your guides, the non-physical, all the occupants of the non-physical world. They're really trying to help us with this. And as it talks about, you know, sometimes there's such a stagnation and frustration that they really kind of have to come in and help push it forward. And you know, the energy of that kind of strong push always can make you feel a little bit off, like there's a little bit of disequilibrium. And that's what so many of us are feeling. But know that it's a helping energy. Allow them to work this energy and push this stagnation forward, like break it apart so that we can move forward in your individual lives and in the world. You can pay attention. You can sort of double down on the things that you want to accomplish. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm going to do this. I mean like in trusting and in faith and thinking about it, imagining like what it would be like or where you want to be. Our imaginations are incredibly powerful tools that have real substance. The things that we imagine are there's an energy to them, and they help move things forward. So that's the kind of thing that you can do while we're in this allowing state, right? Recognize what you want, where you want to be, what it will look like when you're there, what it will feel like when you're there. And again, it can be very big, it can be small, and it can be a few small things, right? Imagine them all and allow. And if you are feeling the sort of depressive or anger-inducing effects of the world that we live in, remember, and you can look at this again, read it again, that this sweeping away is also, as it says, I'm reading it again now, is also a bringing forth. bringing forth lost humanity and lost respect, which is to say love for many natural and loving things, including our planet, including the things that bring you joy and happiness and fulfillment. And these are things that the universe wants us to have because of all this heavy, dense energy and the way that we've been trying, but it's just very frustrating now. They are working to move it forward, and we feel that shift in the energy, and it feels different because this doesn't happen a lot. It only happens when it is so particularly needed. And there are going to be many changes, as this says. Again, you can go back and listen to it. You just did listen to it. So it does talk about that, and it's all very positive, and it feels loving. So to say that the energy feels off in a way that sounds negative or kind of pejorative, I mean, I think we can, with this reading, we can step away from that and say that, you know, the energy feels different. And it feels, if I stop and feel about it, really try and feel it, I should say, breathe, even say the Om as you do that, because this Om is a frequency that puts you closer to the non-physical world. You can even think it. You don't have to say it out loud. And that will help you to have this feeling and understanding of this energy feels different. This energy feels good. This energy feels helpful. It's unfamiliar. And yet when I try, I recognize it because it is love, the love of a loving universe who wants more for us and more for our physical lives now and moving forward, and in all our physical lives moving forward, and I mean different lifetimes, right? So I hope this is helpful. I hope that you can see the ways that it kind of correlates to the things that Kim was saying, and it's always so interesting that works out. If you are interested in Jacob teachings, the Amazon, it's available on Amazon, and eventually I would really, if you read it, you'll kind of see why. And this isn't a book that you have to read sequentially, like from start to finish. You can pick chapters that sound interesting to you, of course, you know, and there are little introductions and then the exercises. Read it, take it however you want to. But I would eventually kind of like to hold classes talking about the teachings, explaining them more, working with them. And as I said, I'll have more of these kinds of short sessions. Some of these sessions will be included in the upcoming book. That will be a while. They'll take a while to produce, but others will not. They'll just be here. So I hope you'll kind of tune in for that. I hope that this kind of message is helpful to you. That's all that I want, and that's all that I feel like these Jacob guides, these master guides want as they work with me and through me. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you'll come back again. As I said, I have a few more ideas for videos. Please feel free to comment and suggest things to me, because I can always use new ideas. So until next time, thank you for tuning in twice today, or whenever you happen to be tuning in. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for building this community. And until next time, I'll just say bye for now.